Welcome to the Panic Button podcast. I'm Nina.
I'm Jessie.
And today we're going to react to the worst, most ridiculous defense of trans women in sports I've ever heard in my life.
I know your initial prescription was like having a third category, right, for transgender sports specifically. Now it seems like you moved away from that. Am I correct on that? Is there like a new prescription you have?
No, I think a third category is probably necessary. Well, it'd be a third and fourth category, right, for trans women and trans men.
Okay, I thought I saw you on stream saying that you thought there should be like an open category and like a protected cis women's category. Is that like...
I might have said that before, but it doesn't make sense because like in an open category, trans women will never be competitive and trans men will never be competitive. So at that point, you might as well just have no trans sports at all, right? I think you need probably a protected space for trans people to do sports in.
At like a state level, do you think that there's even like the numbers there for that? This is the concern I have with that.
I don't know if the numbers are there for it, but that's not really relevant because whether the numbers are there or not for it doesn't justify destroying cis women's sports.
I think it is relevant for specifically the prescription you're making. If the numbers aren't there for it, then the prescription just doesn't work at all, right? Like if the numbers aren't there for it, then we just can't have this prescription.
I mean, then I guess we don't have trans sports. If it ends up being the case for that, then sure.
His whole argument, not Destiny, the other guy, his whole argument is, well, there's not enough people.
Not enough trans people?
Yeah, so
Okay.
it doesn't matter. Just eliminate women's sports. Let the trans women in because it doesn't matter anyways.
Let them in because there's not enough to make a difference.
Pretty much.
I think one biological man taking a spot away from one biological woman is one too many.
Absolutely. This man will continue to just make it seem like women don't matter. Fucking A, what's going on here? But yeah, he will continue to make arguments about women basically not existing.
Well, he doesn't
And
exist.
how it's basically akin to racism to say that women and men are different.
Ooh, that's opening up a big bag of worms he don't want to look into.
But we'll touch that when it comes up.
Do you think that trans women fit within the category of woman?
For the purposes of this discussion, no, of course not. That's why they're trans women, right?
I wouldn't say that it's like, of course not, right? Like they're trans women,
The
right?
answer
But
is
like this is just like an adjective we're
if
trying
trans
to
women were just women, we wouldn't have to
I'm
worry
just
about
trying to get your opinion. I'm not trying to like pressure you on it.
No, I understand, but we wouldn't have to talk about like HRT or surgeries or anything. They would just be women and problem solved. Like yay, we solved all trans issues by saying that they're the same. But clearly they're not, right? That's why we have all these issues related to trans women, like getting healthcare and gender affirming care and everything like that. Right?
So I don't think it's accurate to say that because of the fact that they need certain healthcare that's like special to them that they're not women, right? I still think that like even though trans women have special healthcare needs, they can still be categorized into the group of women in the same way that like a woman who needs like an appendectomy.
Wow, so a dude who can get blue balls is the same as a fucking woman?
I think that an appendix is not unique to a woman. Therefore, a woman who needs an appendectomy would be more akin to someone getting their tonsils out. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that you're replacing hormones, which are supposed to make you look like and seem like the opposite gender. There is nothing you are doing with an appendix that the other gender cannot do with the appendix. It's not a unique part. It's not something that changes your gender. You ever thought your appendix changed who you were as a person, your soul, everything?
What about the guys who have to get their nuts removed because of cancer?
Are they not men?
Are they not men now?
I have so many questions. What about women who suffer from PCOS? Are they not? I would say there are absolutely women, because that's something that only women can go through. If you have appendicitis, welcome to the world. You could be a man, woman, I don't know.
Stupid people give very stupid answers.
HRT
And
is
when
a
they
very
say they're non-binary, you know you're going to get a good answer.
Are we going to tell women who need estrogen that they are trans or they are akin to trans people because they're trying to change their body into something it's not? Because I don't think that's true.
Are we going to
I think they're
tell men with tiny penises that they're intersex, so they're part of the trans community now?
There's a difference in doing something to benefit the health of your body and doing something to benefit your mental status. There's a big difference. Appendicitis kills you. Not having HRT does not kill you. And even the women who have to have estrogen, no, it wouldn't kill them. It's just hard to go through menopause.
I mean, we're talking about getting hormones that bring you in line with resembling a biological sex, right? An appendectomy is...
No, I agree. Yeah.
Well, hold on, wait. No, we don't agree. Saying that like trans women are women. Like imagine somebody says to you like, man, I feel like I have a lot of gender dysphoria. And you're like, oh, well, what's wrong? Like, well, I feel like I'm a woman stuck in a man's body. It's like, oh, well, does that make you a trans woman? And they're like, yeah. And it's like, oh, well, guess what? Trans women are women. There you go. You solved. Doesn't make any sense.
No,
right?
that's not the proposal I'm at. That's not the proposal that I'm advocating for. I understand that there are certain things that make like trans women dysphoric, and right, there are like medical necessities there. I just don't think that this like excludes them from the category of women.
It's just like a pointless, like we're not arguing about the broader social category of women. We're talking about like people. Do you believe that you can identify as trans without having surgery, or are you like a trans medicalist? Do you think that you can be trans and not go for HRT or surgery?
I think you can be trans without dysphoria and not go for like HRT or surgery. Sure.
Okay, do you think that a trans person?
I don't think it's the most useful thing in the world, but I think it's possible. Yeah.
So, this
Useful
individual,
idiots, unuseful idiots. That's what this motherfucker is right here.
This individual is not only saying that
Get it right. This dude, this man boy, this man child, this teeny weeny, this fucking chode. Go ahead.
I don't know what I was saying.
I'm sorry. It's just like any dude who identifies as non-binary, I'm sus. I'm very suspicious.
It just
of
means
this
he likes to get fucked in the ass.
He's a sneaky fuck.
It just means he likes to get fucked in the ass.
Let's just call it what it is.
He's a brownie pounder. It's all it is.
Ooh, what was the other one you used before? It's like the second vagina. What did you?
Oh,
call it?
bussy?
Yes. He likes getting pounded in the pussy.
If you haven't heard, it's called Looking Good by Dallas something or whatever. It's a really funny fucking country song, and I'm not a country fan, but it's funny.
He took Pound Town to a whole nother level.
Yeah, and it's okay. You can like it packed in the back, but like it doesn't make you not a man.
His pussy pink, his booty hole red.
Is something wrong?
Yeah, too much pussy pounding. Too much of the pounding of the pussy.
Oh,
What now?
I remember what I was saying.
Okay.
He is saying that you don't need hormones to even consider competing as a woman, which means that with zero medicalization, a man can come onto your sports field, beat the shit out of you, and walk away like nothing happened. That's what this guy is asking for the world. He also, we've skipped over this, but he has said multiple times that his end goal, the end goal of all this, is to have a genderless sports society. Not
because no one gives a shit about watching female sports.
So
according
why,
to him.
So why do they matter?
Why is he talking?
Do you think a trans person that doesn't go through HRT or surgery should be allowed to compete in cis women's sports?
I think if the point of cis women's sports is I guess it depends which sport, right? There are some of them that I think is fine for, and there's some that I think it would be issuesome to let people who have like these massive biological advantages, regardless of gender identity, competing with each other because they could kill the other competitor, right? Like in combat sports.
No, not.
That's why combat sports are divided by weight, dumbass. Now he's gonna try to use the example of, well, if it's a tall person, then they have a biological advantage. According to that gender, dumbass. God damn, this is why we don't let Twitch people run for fucking government. Because dumbasses like this would turn us into a fucking Stalinist country. Hallelujah.
Good luck.
In basketball,
Wait. Actually, I'm just gonna
go ahead.
That was the most non-answer.
Sure, yeah.
Do you think that
I thought it was like a direct answer to your question.
it was? Do you think that trans women that don't have any hormone replacement therapy or any surgeries should be allowed to compete alongside cis women in athletic events?
I just said that it depends on the sport. That is absolutely a direct answer to your question.
Okay, can you name any sport that anybody here has ever heard of that you would be okay with that happening in?
Sure, I think there are lots of endurance sports where I'd be okay with that happening, right? Where like men and women don't compete on like wildly different levels, like long distance swimming seems fine.
So men outcompete women on almost all endurance.
You see, men have a biological advantage when it comes to everything that has to do with endurance, strength, all that. So when he's talking about endurance sports, as if women have a giant lung capacity that equals men, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. He's pretty much saying that men and women are exactly equal, and we should just play with men because endurance, our lungs are the exact same as men. We have the same lung capacity, so we can do this.
No, he's saying women don't deserve to be in sports competing with men because they don't have the endurance. They don't have that. And if they do, then they can go ahead. He wants the exceptions to be the only women in sports. That's his perspective. Women aren't good enough, so why bother? That's his perspective. That's what pissed me off.
That's how we know
women are not good enough to compete against men, so why are we allowing them to compete against women? Because
do we really have to go there?
Women
have
don't
men
like competition.
Retarded themselves to such a degree that we have to even get into this?
Not men. It's libtards. It's specifically libtards.
No.
Who've gone past the point.
It's progressives.
Yeah, libtards.
Liberals don't want as much government. The progressives are like, government needs to.
It's the tard that's the important
Well,
part.
look, someone already said it. Already going retarded.
It is asinine because I wish it was as simple as what you're saying, but it's not. It's literally women aren't good enough, so why are we pretending like they are?
Because they are in the category of biological females.
Wait till he talks about the titles and how the title means nothing.
Okay, gotcha.
So men outcompete women on almost all endurance. I think there's like two niche, in ultra marathons, and I think in one thing. But in every other mainstream sport, basketball, volleyball, soccer, in America, and every other thing, men are outcompeting women. So in any of those sports, not combat sports, but in any other sports that everybody watches and has heard of, do you think that men should be allowed to, not men, do you think that trans women that don't get HRT or surgery should be allowed to compete against cis women?
So I think that one of the things you said just wasn't true. In the case of like ultra long distance, running, it is the case like women not only like compete at the same level as men, they outperform men in many cases. So I don't think that's really super accurate.
So because of this one sport that women do better in the men, we should just completely eradicate women's sports and just have it open.
No, have you ever heard of an ultramarathon?
Yes.
You see, it's not as common as a marathon, though.
He's
right, like
cherry picking.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
This one that happens one in
not
a fucking trillion.
Not a half marathon, not a marathon, but an ultra marathon. Specifically, that they're good at.
I went online yesterday and I looked up all the Olympic sports. 98 or 99% of them are completely dominated by men. The women's sports in the same field, their times are a lot lower.
They're not the same. They're smaller. They don't have as much length in general.
The fact that we have to go through biology as if I'm teaching a toddler is ridiculous. And the toddler thinks he's smart and he's winning.
He thinks he's right.
That's how you know that they're stupid.
Maybe if I just push my hair more like
stupid
this.
thinks they're smart. That's how you know they're fucking stupid.
Women don't do well at sports, so why does it even matter?
He's the one that likes to sniff Hassan Abi's farts and go, I got smarter.
Tell me that's what it is.
Of non-endurance sports, and not just talking about only combat sports, do you think that trans women that don't go through HRT or have any surgeries should be allowed to compete against cis women?
As it currently exists, no, but I think it would be good to eventually remove the gender categories from sports. This is obviously a long-term goal.
Okay, so if you say no to that, why couldn't I just ask you, well, don't you think those trans women are women?
I do think they're women.
His sexuality shouldn't have anything to do with his opinion on whether a man is a woman. He wants to say that men are women, so he feels less gay, because I'm sure inside he's homophobic. So he's using all these fucking arguments saying that men are women, so he doesn't feel internally bad about himself that he likes it up the ass.
I think it's a little different. I think he's a straight-leaning man.
You mean he likes vagina? He doesn't even know what a fucking vagina is!
Yeah, but he wants it. Look at him.
Okay, well, vaginas apparently are in the back of men's pants.
He wants it. He can't talk to women. He can talk to men, so he gets it from men. He identifies as non-binary because it's easier for him than saying he's bisexual.
Because heaven forbid he might be gay?
It's easier and it's more, oh my God, you're so
progressive.
Brave. Stunning and brave. And you paint your nails black? Wow.
So edgy.
Wow, you are so open to feminine things.
Wow.
I know masculine men who painted their nails black because they're in metal bands.
He's such an ally to all of us gay people and trans people.
Just because you look like a mix between Justin Bieber and Kurt Cobain does not make you anyone's idol.
Oh.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, no.
He looks like...
You will not...
Okay, tell me I'm wrong.
Talk shit about Kurt Cobain like that. Absolutely not.
He's the wannabe. Look at him. Tell me I'm wrong.
He couldn't even attempt to try. He could have 5,000 surgeries, and you could never...
I said he
never.
Did you not
compare Kurt Cobain to that fucking show?
Did you not catch Justin Bieber in there too?
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck my head. But you won't say shit about Kurt. Kurt was not trans. He was not anything.
No,
he was
you tell
barrier breaking.
You tell me what he looks like.
He liked pussy, unlike this guy who likes pussy. Okay, let's get things right.
Agree. However, these people idolize people like Kurt Cobain and then emulate
for the wrong reasons.
Emulate the things that he did and looked like. And this man looks like he is trying to be a mix between Justin Bieber and Kurt Cobain.
Dude doesn't even know what a fucking E minor chord is.
No. He's probably never listened to a Nirvana song.
I think they should be based on we're trying to it should be based on the utility it serves, right? And I think that utility is going to be the ability to pull people in who are in this who are in this sort of generally group that is pushed out of sports in general, right?
I think the point of sports isn't to let women compete, it's to get money. So why are we letting this happen? That's what he's saying. Let's bring in the men. Make it sell again. Make sports great again.
be like, I think it's cis women are still kind of a bit pushed out of sports. I think trans women are pretty hardline pushed out of sports. I think the social utility of giving them a place where they can play sports is good.
Women are pushed out of sports when we have like specific federal visions that guarantees funding across states for women's sports, even when they don't make any money.
Well, wouldn't it be like more of a cultural push? I think there's like a lot of like pull factors as well. I'm not disagreeing with that, but there's a cultural push that I think a lot of women are told, like, I don't actually know if it's a lot of women, but there are at least some women who are told like that they shouldn't be competing in sports.
You know who's also told not to compete in sports? Handicapped people. Should we get rid of the fucking Special Olympics, dumbass? No.
What sports did you play growing up?
No.
What sports did you play growing up? I know you did. Come on.
Oh, I bet he played, he'll say he played chess. But he was just stuffing the pieces in his butthole, okay?
From what I heard,
I don't know what to tell you. That's not chess, sir.
From what I heard, he never said he played a sport. I'm asking you, a woman, what sports you played.
Karate, played basketball. I did track for a little bit. I did gymnastics when I was younger. I played soccer when I was younger. I played softball for a very, very long period of time. Kickboxing. Ice hockey. I played ice hockey.
I did gymnastics, swimming, and tap as a kid. Mm-hmm. I also did soccer. I played in morning basketball before school. I'd go in early for that. I did softball in middle school, and in high school, I did track and field.
I played co-ed soccer when I was like 5.
So specifically in track and field, the throwing, the field aspect, the shot put's way different for men and women because men and women have different abilities. So imagine getting rid of that completely. Imagine having to throw a heavier ball the same distance as a man just because they got rid of that category.
You know, for someone who's incredibly, like, trying to be inclusive, it's very exclusive.
Yes.
You know, let's include the trans women by excluding all women's sports. Do you know that that's not what trans women want?
No.
If you allow, like, there to be no female sports, you just fucked over the trans women, too.
It's like asking to get rid of lesbian bars or gay bars, in my opinion. It's like telling those people, everyone loves lesbians and gay people. Go to regular bars. You don't feel safe? It's okay. You're fine. This is the way of the world. We don't have to worry about that. Could you imagine saying that? It's getting rid of a space
for
women and gay men specifically who are a minority group, and it's excluding them instead of including them. If you get rid of gay clubs and bars, it's the same. It's the same argument.
I agree. The better example is getting rid of the Special Olympics, getting rid of sports for people who are handicapped.
I hear you, but I'm trying to bring it to something else. For the purpose of taking it outside of the sports.
Okay.
For something that matters more than sports.
Well, that's what they're talking about is sports.
Yes, but allowing trans women into sports allows trans women into other areas.
Yeah, it's opening Pandora's box.
It's a bridge that opens to a whole neighborhood of things. So if you're telling trans women that they can go ahead and go into women's sports, then now trans women absolutely will adopt the identity of lesbian and come to the clubs and bars and hit on people like me and you.
But we need to be inclusive of everybody.
And I'm telling you that as much as you might feel inclusive, we've been having the at our bars, but if they're gonna start hitting on me and acting like they are a lesbian, that's a whole different game.
I love how that's the people without the vaginas who have such a strong sentiment to eradicate women's sports. His logic of eradicating women's sports would be the same logic for eradicating Special Olympics. That's what I was just saying.
Progressive illusion. I think plenty of women are encouraged to participate in sports when they go to high school. It might not be like football, like, men do, but I think plenty of women are encouraged to play. I don't think that
For my specific family, it was you either were involved with, you had to be involved with a sport and something to do with an art. I mean, that's just the way of life for most kids. You want to do something productive with your life. Competition keeps people healthy and motivated. If you're telling women not to even bother competing, they're not even going to bother getting jobs. They're not going to bother doing anything. Talk about traditional fucking 1940s bullshit.
Might as well tell them to go back in the kitchen.
Exactly. You're telling them not to compete. Don't compete. Don't compete for your job. Don't compete for the man you want. Don't compete for anything in life because you're just not good enough.
That sounds very progressive of you, sir.
So progressive.
Gin and cook. I don't agree.
So, well, I guess we could dispute this point all day, but I don't think it's really relevant to my broader point. So, yeah, I'm even okay with just granting the point entirely. Like, women aren't pushed out of sports. Okay, so what's the point of women's sports?
To have a protected place for cis women to compete with other cis women.
What's the point of having a protected space for cis women to compete with other cis women if they're not pushed out of sports?
What's the point of having handicapped people play against other handicapped people if they're not good at sports?
It's funny because my older brother has spina bifida, and he had to have surgeries for that, right? Mm-hmm. And when he went out to Shriners, because they actually paid for the surgeries to have that, they covered the surgeries. Mm-hmm. They had a special league for the kids at the hospital, and that went there to go play sports. My older brother only ever did track and field for the throwing stuff because he can't physically run. But he was able to play hockey and a sled when he went there because his foot was redone. But he was able to actually participate in sports, whereas before he couldn't. He was very ostracized from that because he can't perform at the same level. Mm-hmm. To say you're taking away from women, to say you're taking away from people with special needs, it's so disheartening. Because my brother was very antisocial most of his life. And it took him until he was well into his adult years to become social. And I think a lot of the reason is because of things like that. Because he wasn't able to feel like a kid. Not a boy, but a kid playing sports with his friends and being included. It's so sad to hear people talk like this because all of these kids, they have a drive to at least be involved in competition. That's why it sucked getting picked last for dodgeball. It's astonishing to me that there's anyone saying, just get rid of it.
Did he say that a transgender woman, so that's someone who's a dude who hasn't gone through any sort of transitioning, he said that it's okay if they compete with women?
He said that earlier, yeah.
So why can't people...
depending on the sport.
Wait, but why can't people who aren't handicapped play against people who are handicapped then? By his logic, why? Because if they believe they're handicapped in their head, then they should be able to compete with how they identify, right?
I just like using the disability as an alternative.
Well, but that's the same kind of shit they're saying.
I understand it's something you're born with and that's the same context. I just don't like using it because I don't feel like we should have those... I don't think that group of people should be brought into this. In any context. That's just how I feel. I don't think that handicapped or disabled people should be brought into the argument because I don't want them losing anything.
Oh, I would have slapped the shit out of this boy. I would have been, you stop talking about this stupid shit. Oh, I'm going to slap the shit out of him. But I won't.
You don't know
because
where
we're
he lives.
women and we're peaceful. We're delicate flowers. And we're bad at sports.
I wouldn't say every woman is peaceful.
No, not anymore. No, we gotta fight this dumb shit now. We can't be peaceful.
Because women aren't capable generally of competing with male-to-male biology.
Yeah, so what's the point in having them in sports?
So that they have an opportunity to compete because it represents a huge section of society that probably would like to compete in athletic events.
So what's the point? Right? That's what he said? What's the point? What's the point of having men compete? What's the point of anyone doing sports? Let's get rid of sports altogether.
Let's just get rid of everything that nobody watches.
You know, a sport is a game. And games are fun. That's the fucking point, you half-wit.
And then there's the competition. And then there's...
which is fun. The competition is fun for people. It's a taxing training scenario, and you have fun.
When you get money.
Not
and you
always.
Get scholarships.
But you can.
And you get gold medals.
And if you compete well, you get those things. But if you're not, if you have no chance, are you going to even bother? Welcome. We already have the obesity epidemic. There's going to be more if you're getting rid of fucking women's sports.
So leave women fat and in the kitchen. How progressive.
Well, then he can steal all their mans.
Ooh. I get why he's doing this now. Sneaky fucker.
right? But this is kind of irrelevant to the broader point here.
Okay, where is this? Where are we going to with this one?
Yeah, we're talking about how should we structure sports, and you're saying like this is not the way we currently structure sports. Like I agree, it's not the way we currently structure sports.
Are you asking me to rebuild like the entire sports system to make it 100% like meritocratic, or?
I think slowly over time making the sports system meritocratic as a long-term goal is a really good idea, but I think currently as it stands, I don't think the categories are that harmful. I don't think allowing trans women in sports at the rates they do are in any way keeping cis women from going into sports entirely. I don't think it like destroys the.
Did you catch that? So he's asking to divide sports instead of by gender into divisions. And Destiny's like, what? And he said that the categories don't matter. So that's why you should just let everyone compete against anyone. Women, although yes, they cannot compete with male biology, should be forced to compete with male biology, especially later in the future.
Women won't.
They won't be able to.
They won't even. What would be the point? They're going to be like 400th. If I'm a woman and I'm good at a sport, but I'm not as good as a man, why the fuck would I even want to compete if I'm not going to get any accolades for it? Even if I am really good at it, as a woman, I'll never be first. So you just fucking flushed every woman's athlete, their dreams, down the toilet.
You won't go to the Olympics.
Because of your progressive inclusiveness.
Physically apt, biological men will start competing, and they'll be pushed out just as fast. If you're letting the ones who have no medical treatment in there, then you're only going to have people who are saying that they're one thing competing against people that are saying they're another thing. And they're all going to be 6-foot-something monsters running the field. Like, I don't know what you think is going to happen here.
I don't think it destroys the competitive nature of sports to allow trans women in there. I don't think they have even though I would grant they have an advantage, I don't think they have enough of an advantage to justify like keeping them out and like putting them into a third category that just wouldn't really work mathematically.
How can you, how can you justify the division of sports by sex and then allow people into the sport that kind of like work against that established boundary?
So I think that women's
sports should just be gotten rid of entirely.
I said long distance. I'm okay with like moving it to a genderless system of sports.
Well, I'm not talking in a hypothetical in 500 years or whatever. Like,
not 500 years, like, but slowly over time, I think it's fine to do that. But I don't.
You're talking about
unless you could give me
You're talking about getting rid of all. I'm
not
asking
really
for today. Okay, how long until we live in a genderless society? When do you think? I'm curious.
I don't think we're gonna live in a genderless society just because we have genderless sports. It's a bit exaggerative, right?
No, I don't think you
think society would be genderless if we had genderless sports?
To get rid of all gendered sports?
Do you think that saying gender doesn't matter when it's men versus women will change the structure of society so that no one feels like men and women are different? No, it's just sports. It's just bathrooms. It's just school. It's just everything. Yes. The outcome of everything you're asking for is a genderless society where everyone is this ominous blob floating through the world. That is what you're asking for.
He wants a genderless society? Did he say he wanted a genderless society? He just wanted non-gender
in the
sports.
future.
In the future, we just have a genderless society. Well, isn't that convenient for his homophobic ass who doesn't want to be gay? Having a genderless society would make his gayness very normal. And if you think I'm bashing gays, I'm gay, so I get to do whatever the fuck I want when it comes to gay shit!
I can do all the gay shit. No one can stop me.
Yeah, I think you're in a very utopian society. I don't know how you can think otherwise.
I think you can still have gender roles in society without having like gender roles specifically in sports. It's like a very small subsection of society, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're talking about eliminating like women from sports. I think we're pretty far from that. If you're talking about getting rid of genders in sports, you're talking about
eliminating women from sports. None of us are talking.
We're not eliminating women from sports. We're eliminating women's sports. You see, it's a very, very discrete difference.
Yeah, you're pretty much just pushing women to the back of the fucking bus.
We're just eliminating women in general. Okay, let's be clear here.
Let's talk about eliminating women from sports.
How do they still compete if we eliminate like the gender distinction?
They would compete at lower skill levels.
So you could never be the top at any sport. Now you're just going to be relegated to always being like the fourth division because you're a woman.
If you're, I guess you could be you could be the top of D4. They're never the top of any sport anyways, right?
They are. They can be the top. They can be the best woman in the world at a sport.
Yeah, the best woman at a world sport is not the kind of thing that most people are going to consider the best at the sport, right?
They would say that they're the best woman at the sport, recognizing that like, yeah, women have.
They could still be the best woman at the sport.
Yeah, but if they're all in the same leagues, you don't see how that's a little different?
I agree, it's a little different. It just doesn't really like address the point.
Do you not see there being a distinction between saying that like we have a women's league and there can be some women that are at the top of that league versus we just have an open league and the best woman happens to be like ranked 7,000 in that league? You don't think that feels a little bit different? to the women that
I think it does feel a bit different. Yeah, no, I completely agree. But I think it would be the feelings of this woman. I don't think are enough to outweigh the social benefit of being able to not have segregations on the ground of sex.
The feeling of everyone, right? There will never be a woman at the top of any sport ever again. We'll never have a female champion.
We already don't have women at the top of any sport. We have them at the top of women's sports, right? So
sure, each is their own.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, the top of the divisions that they play, which are like the women's divisions. Yeah, you have.
Oh my God. There would be no Serena Williams. What
he is saying is that the word woman being in the title is so degrading that we shouldn't even have it.
Degrading to mentally ill men who think they're women.
Degrading to who? I would
Men.
love. Why do you think we have
mentally ill men?
Women of the year, men of the year, for artists, for fucking sports competition. I mean, what do you think this is?
So we can give women a chance. That's why.
What do you think this is? Woman is apparently derogatory now. Woman is an insult. What is wrong?
Suck it.
Did your little friends call you a chick for so long that now it hurts your feelings? Now you think woman's an insult? What the fuck is your problem?
These men just hate women. This is what it is.
Let's get down
to brass taxes. This is misogyny at its finest. Misogyny at its finest. See, it's misogyny cloaked in inclusiveness. I want to be so inclusive that I want to push bitches out.
That's the problem with inclusive.
Dude, by being inclusive, you're being
exclusive.
50% of the population exclusive.
By being inclusive, there is some point where you are exclusive. To the point where women's sports is inclusive, it excludes men. Men's sports are inclusive because they exclude women. It's the end of it. That's it. That is inclusion means there's exclusion somewhere. With one comes the other. No one's fully included unless I talk about heartbeats.
Okay, I guess it doesn't really matter. There are women who we will likely see televised.
I don't know what that means.
In smaller number.
Can you
I agree.
explain what that means? I don't know what kicking at the D1 level.
It means that at the Division 1 levels, they're kicking on par or near the lower range of Division 1 kickers.
A kicker in what sport?
I guess in football.
Wait, what do you mean you guess? Wait, what are we talking about right now?
Look, I have no idea how this relates to the broader point. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like I'm missing something. What are you trying to go with?
I don't know what you're saying. I'm very confused. I'm having a schizo moment. You're saying that there are some women that are competitive with men at D1 levels? In any sport that anybody watches?
Not broadly. Very small subsections of the things you can do in a sport. Yes. Not the entire sport overall. Right. I agree. We will see less women in sports.
You'll see no women in sports,
Shit.
dumbass.
I went forward. I don't know what I did.
No women in sports, less women, my ass. Yeah, the women you're referring to are the fucking men who think they're women. And they'll still be in the bottom. So what the fuck are we talking about?
He's suggesting that women can compete with these men at these levels. However, only in very specific sections of it.
I'm not sure what you mean by against men.
They're kicking at D1 level. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry.
Okay, I guess it doesn't really matter. There are women who we will likely see televised.
Can you tell me? I don't know what that means.
In smaller number.
Can you
I agree.
explain what that means? I don't know what kicking at the D1 level.
It means that at the Division 1 levels, they're kicking on par or near the lower range of Division 1 kickers.
A kicker in what sport?
I guess in football.
What do you mean you guess? Wait, what are we talking about right now?
Look, I have no idea how this relates to the broader point. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like I'm missing something. What are you trying to go with?
I don't know what you're saying. I'm very confused. I'm having a schizo moment. You're saying that there are some women that are competitive with men at D1 levels? In any sport that anybody watches?
Not broadly. Very small subsections of the things you can do in a sport. Yes. Not the entire sport overall. Right. I agree. We will see less women in sports. Or in high level sports that we see televised. Right. We could see the same number of women overall.
Almost, the number is going to be approaching zero. I don't want you to weasel out maybe there'll only be 20 or 30. The number will be approaching zero. Maybe you get one exceptional woman every couple years that makes it into some televised matches. For the most part, they're going to be completely eliminated.
Most people don't pay, but as it exists now, most people don't pay too much attention to women's sports. They're already viewed as the lower league.
Okay, so if I were to look up broadcast numbers for the all females soccer or the WNBA, do you think it's just a few dozen people watching these? You don't think
I'm sure that it's more than just a few dozen people, but I think if we look at the numbers overall, it's going to be a very small percent.
Yeah, it's less than what watch men's sports, but there are people that watch women's sports, especially women.
I don't think it's nearly as big as the people that watch men's sports, including women watching men's sports, is what he's going to say. So the fact that 40,000 people love watching soccer, fuck them.
Fuck those 8 million who watch the Women's World Cup.
They don't mean anything anyway.
No, because not as many people watch,
Those,
right?
those little black girls who want to be Serena Venus Williams,
Fuck them.
fuck them.
They don't matter.
I was a little Hispanic girl. Don't look up to them. You can't do it.
Biological men matter more, don't you understand?
You're already short, especially compared to men. You're already weaker. Don't do it.
Yeah, we don't need women, especially women of color, in any of our sports
No one's
because
gonna
nobody
watch.
watches that shit,
No
right?
one's gonna watch.
No, we need men who think they're women competing.
Against the women that had a hard enough time getting to where they're at today.
Nobody's gonna watch that anyway. So fuck the trans women too, right?
Fuck them all.
That's what he's saying. Just let men rule the world and rule everything and be first at everything.
Go get your apron, bitches.
Get in the goddamn kitchen and make me a sandwich. This is the first argument that actually made me made me feel gender critical. This is someone actively agitating to take away sports opportunities from 50% of the population to cater to less than 1%. Truly insane. Bro's entire argument can be summed up with one sentence. In order to protect trans inclusivity, we must eliminate women's spaces entirely. Holy God, I consider myself a progressive, and watching this person really clarified to me why so many people hate us. We're going to end it here before
Camera overheats a second time.
we're going to do a part 2 to this because there's a lot of shit to react to in this video alone. So,
Email us at thepanicbuttonpodcast@gmail.com.
share our video, become a member,
Follow us on TikTok, Twitter.
and comment below with your opinion on this
You can't close it like that.
chode, weasel, turd burglar,
Misogynist.
misogynist.